Okay, so looking at the two problems that you had on the board, and remember, we're still just kind of reviewing volume. We don't want to completely do away with it. So for number 3, we know all of our measurements, right? So what's our formula for volume? There you go. Length times width times height. Okay? So we're going to plug in our measurements, and we've got length of 8, a width of what? 3.2, and a height of 1.7. So we multiply all those together, and what do we get?
43.52.
You got it. 43 and 52 hundredths. And remember, that is centimeters. It's volume. There's 3 numbers, so it is cubed to the 3rd power. Yep. Now, number 4. I think y'all are pros at finding volume when we've got all 3 measurements. It's when we're going the other way around. Okay? So, again, we're starting volume is equal to length times width times height. Now think back to algebra, okay, where if you know a value, you can plug that in, all right? So what is our volume? Okay, so we're going to plug that in. We got 1,267, and that is equal to, what is our length? We don't know, so we're going to leave that as a variable, okay? What is our width? 23, and what is our height? 3, okay? What can I take care of at this point?
You can multiply 23 times.
I can go ahead and multiply. So that is 1,267 is equal to 69 times length, or times the length, okay? What kind of equation do I have at this point?
Division.
Multiplication, but you're right. We're going to undo it with division. Division. What's a division? Okay. All right. So we're going to divide both sides, right? Okay. So the length would be equal to. What'd y'all get?
18.362318.
Absolutely. But we're going to actually stop after the second decimal place. So we're going to say 18 and 36 hundredths, and that is feet. Now, it's just feet. It's not feet cubed. It's not feet squared. It's not anything extra. It's just feet because we're going backwards, remember? So we just want that measurement. We don't want the cubed. Oh, you got it? Okay. All right, so there we go. Again, like I said, I feel like you guys are pros at finding volume regularly. It's just going backwards we probably need a little more practice with. Okay? Which we will do tomorrow. All right, grab your homework from Monday, and let's look over that together. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, so let's look at this one together. The first shape is what? Pyramid, okay? Because we have a square base and we have 4 triangles, that does make it a pyramid. Alright? Again, you had to find the area of the square, which would be 25. And then the area of each triangle, which base is 5, height is 8. So that would be 20 for each triangle. Add all those together, you should get 105 centimeters squared. Now, please, what actually helps a little bit, especially when I'm checking your work, if you'll go ahead and write the area, the actual area of each shape in the shape. That way, if you're wanting me to check over something and we're not sure why you got it wrong, it kind of helps to be able to say, okay, let's go back and look, and we didn't divide by 2 on our triangles, or your triangles are good, you need to double check the squares. Okay? So it kind of helps us to problem solve. All right? Number 2, what type of shape? Triangular pyramid. Very good. And it says all of these triangles are congruent, which means they are the same. Okay? So each of them would have a base of 20, a height of 15. So we divide that by 2. So each triangle would have an area of 150 millimeters squared. And there are 4 of them. So you would have an area, a total surface area of 600 millimeters squared.
Why would it be square instead of
Surface area. This is not volume. This is surface area. Anytime we're talking about area, anything dealing with area, is going to be squared. Volume is the only thing that's cubed. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? Still good? All right, number 3. What type of shape?
rectangular prism?
You got it. And this one happened to have 2 squares for the sides. So because those are squares, all 4 of our rectangles in the middle are going to be the same. It's when we have rectangles over here that it gets a little weird and we've got to figure out different measurements. But because they are squares, all of our rectangles in the middle will be the same. So 21 for those, 9 for your squares. Add them together should be 102 inches squared. Because if you look here, this length is 7 and each of your sides are 3. So 7 times 3 would give you 21. All right, number 4. If you were going to miss one of these, I would have predicted number 4 would be it. And here is why. Okay? If you look at this triangle is not an equilateral triangle. Little extra information. What kind of triangle is it?
It's a
Isosceles, because it has 2 equal sides. Okay? So because it only has 2 equal sides, and this bottom side is a different measurement, all of your rectangles will not be the same. So if you look here, and remember we said when we're folding paper, this side has to match up with this one. So because our box has to be perfect, so this side is 13, this side is 21. So both of these rectangles, I put little smiley faces to show you they were equal, will be 273. The middle one has a measurement of 10 by 21, which would give us 210. So, triangles, hopefully you guys got that part. I think if you were going to miss it, it would be that you counted this one, or counted all 3 of them as 210.
It looks
Yeah.
similar.
They do look very similar, but you got to be careful because this measurement is 10, whereas these are 13. Okay? So 876 centimeters squared should be your answer on that one. All right. Any other questions? Okay, a couple of things I want to show you on what we're going to start with homework tonight. So if you'll go ahead and grab that you picked in when you came in. And if you need to see my homework later, you can always come back and grab it. Okay, looking at number 1, what type of shape is that?
Cube.
It's a cube. Okay? Now, I don't have any numbers on this shape, do I?
No.
But I do have a grid. And what do we know makes up a cube? Squares. So if we look at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So each of these squares is a 5 by 5 square. So your area for that square would be 25 units squared. I'm not going to go ahead and figure out the rest of it for you because I think you should be able to figure out your area from there. All right, but real quick, take a look at number 4. This is the one I want to talk you through, okay? Number 4. The thing about a rectangular prism is this is going to make a perfect shape. It's going to make a perfect 3D shape. We're not going to have crooked sides or anything like that. So because of that, we have matching sides. Think about a box. This side has to match this side, okay? Front has to match the back, and the top has to match the bottom. Otherwise, the box won't make a box, right? So if I look at this, what side would match this rectangle? Which one?
The bottom.
The bottom.
Rectangle.
These are across from each other. Do you see if we were to fold the sides up, they would be opposite from each other. So what measurements am I going to use to find the area of those 2 shapes?
2 times 3.
2 times 3, because if you'll see, this side right here is 2, and this is 3. So, yes, so our area of those 2 would be 6 centimeters squared. All right. What about this one? What's going to match this one? The middle? Mm-hmm. right here. Because they would, if we folded those up, they would be opposite from each other. So I'm going to use 6 and 2. Absolutely, because if this is 2, this is 2, and if I have to fold it together, that's got to be 2.
It doesn't look very equal.
I know. Yeah, it's not a perfect drawing, but it's okay. So 6 times 2, what would be our area? Okay. So this shape is 12, this shape is 12. And then the very last two that we have,
6 times 3.
6 times 3, I do agree. And I round. Okay. So what would be the area of those last two rectangles? 18. Okay. At this point, you can add them all together. With a rectangular prism, you will always have 3 sets of matching sides. Because this side is 6 and the bottom is 3. 6 times 3. And like if this is 2, this is 2. Yep. So what do we get when we add all those two together? 72 centimeters squared. And we did say this was a what? Rectangular? Alright, one thing I want you to be careful with. I'm not going to solve it for you. We did this one together. But look at number 3. Okay? What shape would match this one? The bottom. Those two rectangles are the same. Is the middle one the same? No. And here is why. If you look, this side of my triangle is 5.4. The base is 7.8. So my triangles are not the same, or the sides of my triangle, they're not equal. It's not an equilateral triangle. So we have one of those rectangles, and then we have 2 triangles that are equal. Okay? Now let me ask you, to find the area of your triangles, what 2 measurements will you use?
9.7 and 7.8.
You got it. We will not use the 5.4 for our triangle.
Because it's a diagonal.
Where will I use my 5.4?
The 8.2.
Right here. Because remember, if this is 5.4 and I have to fold it to match that, this is 5.4. Okay? So now at that point you should have everything you need to find. You don't use it for your triangle. Because remember, we don't ever measure our height at a slant. So I'm using my base of 7.8 and my height of 9.7. Because those 2 triangles are the same. Okay? Alright, so my goal is for you to do as many of these as possible, and let's check them. Yeah, there's 2 on the back. Now, we'll say the 2 on the back. Look at number 6. You do not have to draw this shape, but number 6 will be identical to how you solve number 1, because they're both cubes. Okay? Alright, I'm going to stop this.